Hello and welcome to Fox Sports Lab AFL Round 1. Now, the opening round, Chief, done and dusted. You and I are 2-2, exactly where I thought we'd be. Level pegging. This is where we open the shoulders up. So, today we're going to go through 4 of the big games of the weekend and then we'll go through quick tips and then a big call at the end. So, let's kick it off with my Blue Baggers, which rolled your Lions last
I'm
week.
still trying to get over that.
I love the banner during the game. They're no chance. What? They've won? Get out of here. All right. Well, they take on the Tigers. Everyone's dumped on the Tigers this week and said they are awful. Lee Matthews, the great Lee Matthews, said horrible game of football to watch. They come up against the Blue Baggers. So which way you're leaning in this one? Now, no Sam Doherty, obviously disappointing news for Blues fans and no Wiedering. Yeah. So they're lost a couple of key players.
They have. You think after last week, there's some really good momentum to build on for the Blues. But you also have to take into account that the Tigers get back Tom Lynch and Dustin Martin.
Yes.
And Toby Nankervis. They are 3 pretty big inclusions. Not enough to make me go out on a limb after how poor they were against Gold Coast. But I think they'll be competitive. I'm just going to go for Carlton in this one, but danger game.
Yeah, I'm going for Carlton as well. But what about you? You were the letterbox last week. You said if Dusty plays, Richmond win. If he doesn't play, Gold Coast win. Was he 39 points? The difference was he Dusty Martin last week, or Richmond that bad?
No, Richmond were that bad.
Okay,
I don't think they can be that bad again. They will improve. You'd think second up under Adam Uze, but they got a lot to go. All
right, let's go to the unfurling of the flag. Collingwood take on Sydney. Sydney caused the upset last week against Melbourne. They were the outsiders in that game. Didn't have a lot of midfield depth because of the experience it wasn't playing. And Collingwood, I did that game live. They were looking at the left hand and got slapped with the right by the Giants. They didn't know which day it was up in Sydney. But do you see the Pies bouncing back for the first time?
I find this a really intriguing game. Sydney were good. They're a professional outfit. They'll be well rested coming into this one. Whereas Collingwood's had, a couple of days less rest. It's going to be interesting. Their numbers were okay, Collingwood, the statistics in terms of going forward and the opportunities that they had, but they just didn't have that synergy that we saw so often last year. I'm going for Collingwood at home, but it wouldn't surprise me if Sydney took it up to them. So I think, again, a danger game for the Pies. And you wouldn't want to see them start 0-2, would you?
No, it'd be a long way back from there. But just on Sydney, big call last week. I've given myself no love, and you don't want to bring it up, but I said that Brody Grundy, All-Australian ruckman, well, he's got at least one vote.
He played well, didn't he? And now he comes up against his other team, so he's going to be just as motivated. And I think he'd be pretty confident that he can get the job done. And that's another reason I think. You look at the midfield, the way they played against the Ds, and everyone thought the Ds had an advantage in the midfield. Sydney took it away. And the young kids, Goulden and Warner, even Wicks when he came off the bench gave them something, off the substitutes bench gave them something. So the youngsters stepped up. Can they do it again? Who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm going with Collingwood as well. So we can't keep doing this vanilla stuff and agreeing on all matches. The Cats and the Saints, so down at the Cattery and Geelong opening the new stand, the Joel Selwood stand. So it'll be a packed house down there. The Cats, well, no one says rebuild. Young kids come in. They've still got their old players and experienced players, and hard to go past their forward line. But the Saints in pre-season form's not to go on, but they look pretty sharp in their last hit out, as we saw against North Melbourne. So this one, I reckon, is tighter than the odds are giving.
Well, it's funny you say that. They're short price favourites, aren't they, the Cats? Because they're playing down at GMHBA and they very, very rarely get beaten down there. They're opening the new Joel Selwood stand. They'll have a couple of debutants playing, which is going to be exciting for the Cats fans as well. But you've just got to think they're going to kick their campaign off with a win. St Kilda, to me, is one of those unknowns heading into 2024. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to provide for us. It's going to be a really interesting watch for them. Under Ross Lyon.
Yeah, Cats hard to beat at home. Now, this is the interesting game. So, D's and Doggies. So, D's didn't really play their best footy for whatever reason last week. And the Dogs, I did their last pre-season game against the Hawks, and good luck stopping that forward line in Norton and Jamara. They were on fire. So, I'm going to kick it off here. I'm going with the doggies. So hopefully you're going with the D's, and then we're at least disagreed on one tip of the top 4 games this weekend.
I knew you'd tip the Dogs. Absolutely knew it. And there's plenty of talk about Bevo and being under a bit of pressure, and the Dogs need to perform this year. But you're right, it's really going to be May Lever and co against Shamara Ugle-Hagan and Aaron Norton and the rest of the setup down forward for the Dogs. I thought Melbourne were putrid last week up in Sydney. I thought they were poor. They didn't handle the conditions at all well. I had higher expectations of them. I'm genuinely worried about a big drop-off for them this year now after what I saw last week. But I can't write them off after 1 week. I can't just say that's them for the season. I've got to see it again. So I'm actually tipping Melbourne, but not with great confidence.
All right. Okay. We've disagreed on one, so that'll be an interesting watch. Let's quickly wrap the other games. So Essendon and Hawks, the old rivals.
It pains me to say it, but Hawks got half their team out, mate. They got too many injuries, and for a young team that needs their good players in there, I just can't see them beating Essendon.
Yep, I'm on the Dons as well. Giants and North, real quick here. Giants for mine.
Yeah, not a tough one.
Now, this is the interesting game. Gold Coast and Adelaide. Who do you go?
I think this is a tight one because Adelaide will be good this year. You've got to tip the Suns after what they did last week, but they don't want to rest on their laurels. Can Damien Hardwick instill some confidence and some consistency in them? Well, we'll see, but I am tipping the Suns.
Yeah, I'm going Adelaide, so that's not my big call either, that they're going to be in the top 4 this year, but they're a top form team, I believe, off their form last year. Port Adelaide, West Coast, real quick here. Port for mine.
Adelaide, yep.
And Fremantle and Brisbane.
Brisbane will bounce back. Brisbane will bounce back hard, I think.
All right, let's finish it off, Chief. The big call of the weekend.
Thought about it. Wasn't quite sure which way to go. There's a few tips where teams are short and I've tipped them, but not with great confidence. Even though I tipped Geelong down at GMHBA and they're short and the Saints are big outsiders, if you're a punter that likes to back the roughies, I think St Kilda is over the odds.
Okay. Now
they'll give the Cats a scare to go.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well,
that's your big call. What are you coming up with then, Superman?
Well, I'm going to give a long-winded one here, but I'm going Carlton to be the only team undefeated after round 6 in the competition.
Round 6. Wow, that is big.
That is big. So round 6 game is against the Giants. I think that's going to be their toughest opponent in the first.
That's funny. I was about to say I think the Giants might be undefeated after 6 as well. So they might actually both be 5-0 going into that game.
Yeah, well, there we go. So there you have it, Chief. That's our wrap for round 1. Looking forward to this one, and we'll be back next week to either sledge or celebrate, depending on who's
I'll get my nose in front with the tips this week.
All right. Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.